Trash Can Ninja. Just getting ready to go live here. Trying to get this camera set up actually for you guys better. I'm going to be doing this in a recorded video, but I thought why not chat with you guys while we do it. It's going to be a little bit of a process, so some people like to watch it live. Why not let them watch it live? That's what I say. I'm just trying to get on it as well myself. But this is the new Treal axle right here. These are 7075 billet aluminum axles for the LMT, and they look absolutely fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and be taking apart my son of a digger that I've been beating up for so long and put these on it and give them a good test. First, I'm trying to get to my live video. That way I can see the chat. All right. So basically how this is going to play out is I'm going to just be doing my typical recording, so you guys will hear me stop talking to you live. I'll be on my camera, which is right next to this one, right over there. And it's got the primary cat shot. It doesn't have as much of the cat butt in it right now. Suhag is asking, what do I recommend for a first car? It depends how old you are, but it's not a bad start with like an Arma 3S lineup. If you're older, you get the power and speed that way. So, but this is not a planned thing. I'm just going to go for it and roll with this, and we'll be good. 18, yeah, I would look at the 3S lineup then as for a starter. It doesn't come with a battery, so you have to supply your own, but battery and charger, but that's really where you want to get in, is at that speed. You'll quickly want to upgrade if you don't. All right, I'm going to hit record on this and do a little bit with the Treal setup here, and then I'll be right back to the live. Hey, what is going on, guys? Tony here, CCxRC, and today we're going to be looking at the Treal axles for the LMT. These are 7075 billet aluminum, so basically they take a solid piece and they carve it out of that, and it is really, really nice looking what they've done here. It only has one opening, unlike the LMT axle, which these two side plates come off as well. So now all we really do is open up the diff, and then of course you've got your two ends, and this can be used for a front or rear, as you'll see, just by changing out these outer two pieces right here. And I've got, basically, I opened this one to do some pictures with, but I do have the box right here that I received all of this in from Treal. And when I ordered this, I had to order it from them, shipped from China, but there's a few people that are going to be carrying them here in the U.S., so you can get them in a U.S. store. Like, I know that JER said he's going to be carrying them, but also Crawford Performance Engineering out of New York. So Florida, New York, two East Coast guys will have some available to order from in the U.S. They do come with bearings, screws. Looks like there might be a shim in here as well. And yeah, so we'll get to this and figuring it out. But here's what it actually comes like when you get it right here. You get one bag, and everything is bagged inside of it. So it's actually really nice how they've done it. And I did go ahead and order a few extra things. I got some stickers with it, and I ordered another steering block, I guess, as well. That way they can call it the C-hub spindle carrier, so that I could do a four-wheel steer if I want to. So I ordered this so I could do four-wheel steer, getting steering in the rear. So that's an extra piece. This is going to be the front axles in here. I unpacked the easier one for the pictures, which was the rear, and so we're going to assemble these. Basically, we have to use all the inside guts of the LMT ones, and then we'll be good to go. So it doesn't come with internals. These are literally just the housings. You can see how nice they come out of the box here. But again, these are the same, except for the C hubs and the other hub that you get as well for the rear. But they come nice and tight. I'd already taken the other one off to show what it looked like inside. We got our C hubs here, and then our screw kit. So I'm not going to do this all at once. I'm actually going to keep these separated so that I know what I'm working on and what parts are supposed to go with what. So I'll do one axle at a time. And they do have a 5-degree offset. I should mention that. The stock ones come with a 3-degree. These are 5. So we'll see what that does and brings into play here. So these are the parts and the bearings and the things that came with the rear. So we'll put that over there. All of this came with the front axle. It'll go back in the box, and we'll look at that later. Basically, I'm going to assemble one of them and show you that whole process for the insides, and then I'll just show the basically the steering parts going on to the second one, because it's the same process to do it. But before we do anything, we do have to take the rear axle off of the LMT, which I have right over there, and we'll get to it. Deontay says he got his on the day they came. Well, good for you, brother. I had to do a J Concepts video so I could mail that back, and we're having a new roof put on our house. So that's been taking up time, having to use daylight things for that. And then because I'm using the daylight hours to do stuff outside, my work in editing that I do for a day job, I was doing at night. And so I was editing into the night other projects that were not for my channel. So that's basically why. And I had to wait to do video. Video always slows things down. If I wasn't gonna do a video on the process, I'd have been done. But I bought them because I knew that people were gonna want to see the process and see it all. So I did actually clean this down a little bit for you guys. It doesn't look like it so much, but if you'd have seen it after, you're gonna have to move, Mr. Kitty. If you'd have seen it after that last bash session I just did with it, it was beat up. Real good. So I need to figure out how to show you guys a little more. I don't know where the mic is on my phone when I do lives from it, so I'm trying to do it in a way that the audio is the best in the direction that I'm looking. So hopefully this works all right for you guys. So that's a good question. We will weigh it. I do have a scale. So, I mean, I guess we can weigh the axles when they come off and see what the difference is from the stock axle to the final one. You guys got to remind me, though, because I will forget. I just get going. Small scale says it'd be interesting to see them on a rock racer. That would be interesting. They are pretty beefy. So I need a 1.5 mil at some point. Here's another 1.5 because they're kind of finicky. Luckily, we're going to be getting rid of the 1.5 millimeters with this process because the new axle uses 2 millimeter instead of 1.5, which is real nice. Trying to see what my cat's doing. Scratching on everything up here. Being weird. All right. Treal seems to make nice parts. Just picked up a bunch for your SCX24. Very cool. All right, so I'm getting my wrenches laid out here. We'll keep this kind of in sight so we won't forget about it. Just over to the side. Get my 8mm wrench. Try and keep myself somewhat organized, but I got all these cameras in my way. All right. All right, so we've got the LMT here in front of us. Got my 8mm wrench. We're going to work on taking the wheels off. We're going to do one at a time. We'll start with the rear. My plan is to weigh it as well so we can get a full axle from the rear, weighed, see what it is, and then we'll also do the Treal one as well. So we got 2 of these to take off, and we'll get to it. Man, I got this on there tight. So one of the cool things about these ProTech nut drivers is that they are holy, and you can make a little T-wrench out of it. And there was that little torque I needed to get it started. What seemed so difficult with just a driver was super easy as a T-driver. Chris Watson says he's also doing it. That's cool. He's wrenching. You know what? We got a lot of wrenching to do. We need a CCxRC mat. All right. Put this under the truck. Never regret taking time to stop and put that in, that's for sure. Will not regret that move. Put that nut back here. Wheel off. Wheel goes under the truck usually. You can see the axles themselves do look clean. I did wash this down after my run in the mud, and we got it cleaned up. Even wiped it down with towels after hitting it with the brush to knock the dirt off. But the axles have a nice black sheen to them again after the WD-40 was sprayed on and let it sit in there for a little bit. Blew it off and then wiped it down. I mean, it's still pretty wet in there. All right, wheels are off. Now we just have to remove the axle itself. So we'll be taking off these lower links. We'll take off the shocks, sway bars, upper links, and we'll have it in our hand. It's not too bad, especially if you have a drill driver and some of these nice tips from MIP or whoever you get yours from. Let's end with the lower link since we have it sitting on it. I'm gonna need my needle nose pliers. So we've got 2 shocks to take off. Same process for both. All right, screws out. What I always do is drop the nut. I don't know where I dropped it there. I always put the screw right on back through. Put this back on and just give it a quick turn. Get a couple threads on it so you remember which screws go with which pieces. Because you end up with more than you want just sitting down here and you're like, huh? What does that go to? So we'll get these 2 off. We'll go back for the sway bars, upper links, lower links. Get it done. Some of these feel like they're threaded through the plastic. Like it's a tight enough fit on this plastic that it doesn't just pull out like some of them do. So it almost feels like the threading is biting a little bit on the axle, which isn't a bad thing. All right, so like I said, this is just unscrewing things. We're gonna high speed this up and we'll get to the axle in hand in just a second. All right, cool, that lets me cut the recording and see what you guys are saying. Chris is putting in a servo, work on the body to roll cage, cool. Brad Hall's from Flint. I lived about 20 minutes from Flint, man. That's cool. Oh, I have to leave this on for high speed though. Whoops. This is high speed video for the edit. Keep telling myself doing something funny in front of the lens so I'll know to listen. These are 0 degree because of when I put these back together and whatever I was doing, I had to use them. I don't remember why. Some process I had an issue with. Where do we come for these? You know what? We're going to take the upper links off, and then we can get to them easier. All right. So I'm actually now going to put this back in here. We're going to need it in a minute on the other axle, but we'll leave it here for the time being so we know where it is. Now we can roll this and we can get to this stuff real easy. By real easy, I mean still a little bit finagling. Okay, they're longer, so we won't save them. All right, cool. All new hardware, Deontay says. So then I'm actually going to just leave it in this axle casing so it's here next time I want to use this casing. That sounds smart because it's still a good case and I may need it for other trucks. I know one truck that needs a case actually. My destroyed digger, which is in a pile of pieces right now, needs to be reassembled. It's stripped down to nothing basically. So I'm gonna do this one too. All right, I'll do this over here and we'll be real close. So then we'll get to see, I did a test run with these JER axle braces, so we'll see those when they come off of here as well. Cleaned everything up. Leaving this on is going to skew the weight a little bit because I won't have these screws in the other one when I weigh it, but we'll still get a ballpark. And technically, because I'm running axle braces to protect it, I should weigh it with them on to know the difference between a metal housing or a plastic housing with the axle braces. This is still high-speed video. Ain't nobody need to see this. All right, so thank you, Deontay, for the note about the hardware. Good to know. Lower links come off now. Boom. Not gonna put these screws back in because I do have to take these plates off here. All right. Whoa. Hey, Kevin Talbot's in the house. What's going on, man? Tortured RC, Brandon Timlin. You gotta wait a month to get one of these? Oh, that sucks, man. So these Treal axles right here that we're looking at are 160 US, 168, but they're nice aluminum 70-75 billet casings. Super nice. I had kind of mixed thoughts on how good they were going to be. And they blew me away. Let's just say that. Did not expect it to be such a nice axle. All right, so axle now is off in hand. All right, so for the people watching now that came in late, I am recording a video as I do this, so I can do a shortened version for people. But just want to chat live. So I'm actually going to cut my shot here because that was all the high-speed stuff. Gonna hit record again and do a little talkie. Alrighty guys, so here it is. The axle is off. Not very difficult to get off. Actually very easy to access things in these axles. These do have the JER axle braces, and I'm actually seeing this side is cracked right here along this piece. I beat it pretty hard the other day. There's still, even with that, just having them blocked up and in here does help with the flex. It's much more rigid. Just having this fatter piece back here, even though it's just screwed there, that does help. But I must have had a really awkward hit downward that did cause this to pull and break this 3D printed axle brace. But because I am going to be running braces on my plastic axles, I am going to go ahead and just weigh them really quick here, and we'll see what we get for weight of this thing with the internals and with the braces on, so we can compare it to what the Treal ones will be. So we're going to zero this out. 0 ounces. Lay it on here. All right, so it's 11.46. 11.46 ounces. Who's going to remember that? I'm not going to remember that. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to disassemble this axle. We're going to install it into the Treal axle, which has 0 directions. So hopefully all the different parts and screws and stuff that came with it makes sense. It did come with its own bearings here as well. I've heard that they can be a little bit tricky to get in. I may have to run and get a hammer. Here's some more pieces and screws and shims, and who knows what that's all for, because there are no directions. Maybe on the Treal website they give you directions. Maybe Deontay, who's already done this, can be my directions. What's going on, Josh Williams? All right, before we get all this stuff out though, and get it all mixed in, let's bust this bad boy apart, and we'll get in there and see what we got. Magnetified RC, more monster truck madness. It's always monster trucks. I was looking at used monster trucks for sale, and I actually saw the Annihilator one that was made by Sen. Looks like that truck's up for sale. The big one, the full size one. I think they called it the Defender. But it looked nice. So that screw ain't coming. Let's try a different 2mm. This happens with my MIPs every once in a while. They don't work, but another 2mm will. Kevin Talbot asked, am I going to get a real monster truck? I don't think it's in the cards. My wife was pretty much like, no. Tonight, stop looking. But I had to see what they were going for. You could buy a whole team of stuff out of Plymouth, Michigan. Well, that sucks. Round it out. So this is the busted one. Wonder if I can't just break it off the rest of the way. Because it's cracked right here at this housing piece. So I should be able to lift it. You can see where it's cracked. I can't just maybe break that. But yeah, especially too with everything going on with build and whatnot. There's a lot of ride trucks for sale too. But the one up in Plymouth, Michigan was a El Camino. Looked sweet. All right, so we need to find a solution here. Maybe one of these star wrenches in here can bite. It feels like it has a little bit. This is the worst part when you're like upstairs working and you don't have all your tools. You go live thinking, we'll do a live video of this, and you're like, sweet, my axle won't open. Well, we can make this work. Make sure I stop recording because I don't need video of this. Just have to find where I put that bin. Because I remembered I have a battery-powered Dremel now. Just need the bits. Where did I put the Dremel bits? Oh, I see them. Sweet. I was gonna have to go and steal from another axle because I've got axles and more axles. Thank you to CCxRC, man. Awesome. $10 for LMT axles. And who makes the carbon fiber braces? Carbon fiber braces are made by Freestyle RC. And I think they sold out already. Hopefully, he's already got another order in with the guy who cuts them for him. So I think he's going to sell a lot. So, I'm going to move this big pile of axle pieces. I also bought a whole bunch of pieces here. 12 millimeter hexes. This is a full, complete rear axle housing, 242030 part number. Spindle carrier sets, dog bones, rear, universals for the front, steering servo plate, so I could do rear steer, whole assembly. Wish I'd have known that it also has the servo mount, so I didn't need the other one. Yay me. I look very well at things, apparently. These are the spindle sets for the front, or for, yeah, steering. Oh, all kinds of stuff. Here's a whole front axle, complete housing. And then these are 1, 2, 3 kingpin sets for the front. And then I might have gone overboard, and I might have 3 more sets of them right here. or 4 sets of them here. So I think I have 7 sets of kingpins. So I should be good if I lose them. Because in this latest video, you'll see that I keep reaching down and squeezing them back into the casing. There are new and other things that people have found, maybe using the Max uses a threaded kingpin, and using that would be something you could do. And I think it just needs some of the threading cut off it. Anyway, Dremel. Kimberly's parts are epic. Yes, Kimberly's making parts. Where did I get parts for these? I ordered them from Horizon the day that it was announced and just waited and waited. So I don't know how I'm going to get in here to this screw. Try to make a little I can get a screwdriver in here. See if that'll do it. See if I overdid it. All right. So we're going to now have to try and use a flathead. See if I can get it to turn. Not having luck. Not sure I got it enough of a cut in that. I don't think I got enough deep enough groove. Buy nice tools, they said. You won't strip things, they said. I like to prove people wrong. Don't tell me what I can and cannot do. All right. Feeling like horse. A little bit. See if this will get in here. Yeah. Now we're talking. Time to go Treal. I know JER already has his Treal axles installed too, Deontay. Oh, you guys are so fast. I'm like sitting here working on my house and editing projects. No bench time for me. That moment when you realize you're an idiot and you have a power tool that can use the same bit. But it has too much power for me to harness. There it goes. All right. Now we're talking. I know I'm going to get really upset too when we get to the end. And I have to get these ends off. Those are a pain. They don't have to be, but they are. Somebody made sure of it. All right. So many different tool sets out here. Let's put some of it away before I lose everything again. Shouldn't need this again. I have to leave this in there for Tamiya though. Tamiya. Jack Makovich's Irish Steve. Yes, we went against the screw. But yeah, getting these ends off can be a pain. Those 1.5 millimeter screws in there are strip happy. They are strip happy. All right, so let's move the Dremel out the way. Sorry, so we're going to keep on moving forward with this thing. We waited. It was 11.64 ounces, I believe it was. We want to get this stuff off of here, compare it to what it's going to be in the Treal housing. But we got to get into all this stuff here. Just messaged the Basher Queen. Good for you. All right, so we're gonna take off these pieces. Here, our carriers. These have extra long screws because they're going through braces. Yours will probably not be this long and you'll be through it real quick like. JER says that the Treal ones are only 1 to 2 ounces heavier. Complete. That's awesome. You could shave that off just by changing the wheels. All right. So those come off. Now we've got these bolts off. So this one's going to have extra pieces. But this will pull off of here. You won't have all these extra pieces on it, so yours won't come off exactly like mine is. Let's see if I can't get it to separate more normal. See if I can't pry this underneath and get it. Got a really nice tight fit there on this casing. The way that it's carved in there. Really snug in there, which is good. So we did have a little break, but I've already kind of talked with him about this and some ideas about that, thickening that part, because I didn't break the axles, and as you'll see, I went backflip crazy again. You guys know me with this thing. I like to backflip, and we did a lot of them with this when I was giving it a good test. So, all right. Yeah, see how snug that is on there? It's just a really good, nice fit onto this piece. Holds it together real nice. All right. I want paper towel. Bringing 2 drills to this little fight here. We aren't playing around. No playing around. Put these screws back in here, just so I know where they came from. They'll go into my parts bin. They're still good. Now, the way that these ones work, these side pieces actually, with this off, once we get this unscrewed, these will also come off as well, and everything will just kind of come out, fall out of here. So I'll start by taking off the hexes. Yeah, we'll take the hexes off, which are 2.5, which is awesome because these are 17 millimeter hexes. They're monster truck wheels. We deserve big hexes. We got them. Nice. So we'll do that for both sides and just set them to the side for later. See if I remember how all this goes. No manuals. Don't need no stinking manual. All right. Now the dreaded part. right in here. Oh man, I'm not looking forward to this. We're gonna go with the non-ball end one, hex. I do have a nice ball end one, but I just fear it'll strip it. That one doesn't even have one in it. That must be the one I couldn't get out of the other housing. That was a 2mm wrench. That ain't gonna work, but still, there's not one in there. All right. Oh boy. This is not looking good. These were pre-stripped from going in. Oh, this one bites. All right. Luckily, I just have to find three, get 3 out of here. Frog. Green frog's in. Frozen. Thank you. So what happens when your phone tells you that your battery is low. I wish they would find a way to stop that. Yeah, I was really concentrating on that one part there for a minute. All right. I think. Is that one more here? You sound like one more. All right. Good, great, grand. Do we get lazy Tony today, or do we get not as lazy Tony today? How much cleaning on this do I want to do? I think just basic. I do have a brush. I thought I had a brush. I don't see it. My life is in disarray. Alright, so we're just going to do a basic clean down. Get these parts out of here. Drive shafts out. Good. Need more isopropyl. Yes. Maybe a match. That diff just said sayonara. It wanted out. Ooh, it still feels good though. Smooth. It's got some grease on it still. It's a little dirty. We'll just give it a quick clean down. The wood chip in here somehow. Probably came in through one of those small cracks in the casing. That form. Alright, we're just going to give it a light cleaning. We'll just add a little more grease to it. Not going to go crazy. Yeah, when you clean your truck, you end up more dirty than it is. That's the truth. Everything gets dirty. Come on, MIP for the win. So far, this is the one to use right here. All right, so now that we've got these apart, we do have to take the ends off of the axles here to be able to get the drive shafts out. There's 4 screws. They're 1.5 millimeter. We'll do it on both sides. Had to say that before I forgot. Uh-oh. That one is stripped. That one's not happy. Chris Watson, the only time I've had issue with that cutting out early, LVC early, is if I'm using an adapter. And usually it means that the adapter has a pretty bad solder joint that's about to break. That's what I found, at least. Other people may have other experiences, but that's what I've found. Oh, we might fight this. It's stripped, but it's coming. Oh, I lost the bite. There it is. Oh yeah, I think we lucked out. Now there's one left. Shoot. You used a standard hex? Oh. Who got those? Ain't nobody got standard hexes. Is that in there? Yeah, there's one in there. He's the stripped one. You know, I do have an Integy set of standards somewhere. Nowhere close, that's for sure. So we might be back to this Go Comma set we have right here. Go Comma. Then there's actually a comma in there. Go comma comma. All right, I'm gonna try this trick again. A lot of times you can use these like torque wrenches to make it bite. So we'll see if we can use one of these Torx wrenches in here. Find the right size that'll still want to work with it. That one's too big, I think. Next size down. Seems tiny. Does not feel like it's coming out. Keep twisting and see. Nope. Hate to do this, but I don't got time for this. Oh, got one screw here. These are 2 millimeters. We can cheat this out. We don't need to fight it right now. You take off this casing and that together. We're not using this axle piece anyway, so why fight it? Lots of screws we gotta take out if we want to take that apart. Now we win and you lose piece. There we go. So you can get it out of there, cheating a little bit. This will now stay married to this forever and go into the bin. And it'll frustrate me next time when I pull it out and I think, hey, I got a piece. And then it's like, yep, I do, but I don't. A nitro glove on the bit. That's a good tip, Brian. Makes it a little bit bigger and then also grippy. All right, cool. So axle is apart, done. Don't think we need any bearings from it, so it just goes to the side. And we get ready to assemble the new one. Which means I'm probably gonna have to go over there and grab some grease. Because as you can tell, I didn't pre-plan very well. I am going to use CCxRC udder butter. It's tacky, it's whatever. This isn't my race truck. It ends up getting wet. I hose it down when I'm done with it. Just save it for somebody else. I'm doing it. I will say though, typically what I've been using is, and it's not really for bearings, but it's for gears or whatever. So it's Premier White Protec, and this stuff is smooth. I will actually probably put that on the gears. Speaking of gears, we do need to get the gears to put into here. Where did that go to? Oh, it's still in here. It is nice that they pretty much gave you all the pieces. All you need are like the drive shafts. It has its own bearings and cool stuff. All right. So, pull this stuff out of frame. We don't really need to look at it. We've now got our axle here. We're going to take this up, open it up, and we're going to work on getting our axle pieces in here and installed, as well as we've got to get some bearings installed in here. Let's start with the bearings. These all look like the same size, so it should probably go. One will probably go inside here, and one will go on the inside of there on both of them. So, on the bearings, I am going to use the udder butter. Just get it right on my fingers. I don't care. It's a nice snug fit, that's for sure. I feel like I'm opening little candies. Everything's so pre-packaged nicely. Each individual bearing is cared for with such delicacy and grace. And then I open it up and I don't care. Just gonna use this to ram it in there. That seated it. Feels pretty good. Pretty good in there. All right. I'll do that for the other one. Just gonna push it back out though and just take a quick look. Make sure. Yep, we're seated in there nice and fine. This is snug. I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bit of grease on here as well. And around this outside just in case it rubs against the casing. We'll do the same thing to this one, and those are ready. You do want to pay attention to the angle that these have. This has 5 degrees of toe, and that needs to be facing forward on the rear axle. Basically, the logo will be facing outward. They want people to see their logo. It's on this side. It'll also be on this side for the these guys. So, all right, we'll keep on moving forward here. 2 more bearings. This reminds me of JER packages his stuff really nice like this as well. Got a nice sealing machine. All the screws and everything for each section are portioned off very nice. Did appreciate that when I got all the pieces for the APEP chassis from him in the mail. How nicely it was all packaged. All right, so that's in. probably didn't see it on camera. I was strong arming it off camera. Don't want you guys to see the flex I've got going on here. Might embarrass y'all. All right. Those two are ready. Thanks, John Miller. See you, General Hobbies. Take care, man. Deontay, man, I told you. He says those went on easy for me. Flexing, bro. Just straight flexing. All right. So these go here. And then, again, we'll look. And the back side is going to go where you see the logo. And just double check it. That angle needs to be going forward. This is the front. You want that leaning down, like so. Again, the logo is on this side. And if you put it on this side with the logo out, it also is going forward. So you can't lose unless they put the logo on the wrong side. But if you follow the logo trick, you should be good to go. So we'll go ahead and screw this on. Got some screws here. These look to be the right ones. Boom. And these are 2mm. Yes, which is what I was doing my happy dance about. Now I need to get my thread locker. Using some old axial stuff I have laying around. It's like a nice gelatin style. Just gonna thread lock these in so they don't back out on me. Being gentle as I go in. Oh, felt it just snug and let off. It's aluminum, don't want to go too tight. Just a little thread lock on it. Just snug it and then let go. So we're going to do this for both sides. And then we'll take this off. We'll get our diff all set up. In fact, I should actually put the diff in first before I keep on going. Make sure these all line up. Because you get those drive shafts in there. And you're going to be wishing you'd put the diff in because of how it has to go in, because you don't have this ability to take things off. So this is 2.5 mil, which I have right here. I'm just going to use I just put them in finger tight, so we're just going to quickly back them out and put the diff in. Now is the time when you wonder which way this goes in. Yeah, see, I was premature in putting this on. Deontay's probably screaming at me. Don't do that. So I'm going to back this out so the drive shafts will slide in. But the people that are watching the package video won't know that I messed up, because I'm going to go ahead and pretend like I never did that. Two-time Tony is going to just erase that ever happened. All right, so now that we have the axle housing opened, take off this front plate here. We are going to install the diff. And it's smart. You can't put it in the wrong way because there's a little notch down there. You can see it. Guess what? You don't want this side over there because it hits. It doesn't sit right. So you want to seat it like so. Boom. Isn't that beautiful? It's a beautiful thing. All right. Now we'll be able to put in the pieces here. We're going to need some bearings, and then we're going to put in the pinion gear and close this up, and then we'll be able to put the drive shafts in from the side and then put on our ends. And the ends are obvious because they point inward, first of all, toe in, and you look at the logo here and it's going to be on the back side. We'll show you, it'll make sense. See how I did that, guys? Nobody will be the wiser that I messed up. Brian Bissett's gonna tell on me. I will just do hide user from channel. You will be shadow banned. I have the power of the shadow ban. All right, so there's a shim in here. There's two shims in here. Do they go behind the pinion? Tony 2 times strikes again. All right. So, bearing's going to go on the inside here. So far, my brute strength has been enough. Don't want to mess with me. If you're a bearing, you don't want to mess. You got your number all day. Just lightly coating the bearings. Well, that one's tighter. Yeah, that one could pose a little problem. Maybe you should put a little more on. Ah, that hurts. That was painful. There was some definite pain involved with that. Ah, I heard it pop. My nice plastic table helping for the win. Deontay, do shims go behind this? I guess I could just see that it's still not in. What can I do? What can I do? Well, that didn't work. That worked. There it is. But there are two shims in here that I'm very curious about the use of. Deontay says no shims. I like to believe Deontay. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and before I close this up, even though my diff is not completely cleaned up off of the previous grease, I'm going to go ahead and just throw in some white grease by ProTech and call it good. Should be good enough. So now we're going to button this up like so. That is crunchy. Something does not feel seated right. Yeah, well, I don't think I could shim it. I think maybe my bearing's not in all the way. Because this wasn't even closing all the way. Now we're in. Ooh, it's still really crunchy. All right. So I am going to put shims behind that. And see what happens. Start with both of them because it looks really tight. The way that it's sitting in on that bearing, it's super tight. So we're going to throw 2 shims on here, which it looks like they're 4 because they're a perfect fit. Makes that look like a great fit coming out of here as well. That just ain't spinning. Just something just ain't right. Oh, you know what? There's 2 shims because there's 2 axles, dummy. Oh wait, no, the other axle would have its own. That don't feel right. JER, did you put any shims in yours? Actually, shims make it tighter, but I couldn't tell if it was against the back that it was hitting, was back in here where it was grinding, or if it was the gears. I thought maybe it was rubbing against the bearing. I mean, the shim looks like it would be for this part, but maybe I don't need it. Maybe I just need to see if I can get it to go further in. The bearing. That went a little further. It's a snug fit, that's for sure, guys. Now look at that play. After I push that in. Now there's quite a bit. I don't know if you guys can see it. Quite a bit now. Now we'll add the shims again. Felt like it would need both shims, honestly. There's quite a bit of play. Of course, I can only find one. Oh, here it is. try them with both just because the amount of play there was. Yeah, that bearing kind of seated in there again. That's too tight. So I'm going to take one of them off. We'll call one bearing good. One shim. I'll just have to keep my eye on it, see if it's a changes. And there's a little play there still, but that feels the best so far. Yeah, that's binding. Maybe I just need to put it all together and see with a wheel. All right, that felt all right. Coffee grinder, first coffee grinder build. I like the sound of that. Means I can get up and run it every morning. That ain't the worst thing ever. All right, so we're gonna put a little thread lock on these and tighten them up. Use this bag to put a little thread lock on. Now I've got so much of that white grease on everything. This thing's gonna need a wipe down. All right. None of that's recording. Sweet. Back this up. See you, Kimmy. We were talking about your awesome parts earlier. Remember that time I didn't hit record? All right, so with the axle apart and grease on my fingers and hands on everything, because I put a little grease onto the diff. We put the diff in. It can only go in one way because there's a little notch in there. So the gear is going to go away from that notch. Just make sure you get nice and seated in here. Those bearings will pop in pretty good. I've got white grease on everything in here. Then you're going to have to install the bearings on both sides. You have an inner and outer bearing. You got to really push them in nice and tight, especially this inner one. Make sure you get it seated because if you don't, it will not have a good mesh here. The other thing is you may need to add, it comes with 2 shims. I had to add 1 shim to mine because there's a whole lot of slop and play in this. And so it does come with 2 of them. And so on this pinion gear right here, I've added basically a little washer. You can see it inside of here. It's now on my finger. And just line that up and put that through like so. And that just basically got rid of the play that I had up and down right here. And now that I've got it in, I don't have much play. Gear feels pretty smooth. Now we can go ahead and close this back up. put some thread lock on the bolts, and we'll put them all in. There. Got it. That 2-time was just because of a video need. The rest was figured out. So hopefully now this will be like directions for people when I can cut this together of what you need to do. I'll have a whole nother axle I can do it on as well. If I felt like I didn't get it that time, I'll just go through the process again as I do that axle. Make sure we get a good job on it. Go. Last one. All right, so the trick is to get these in first, because then you have your dog bones in here. Now, see, that's just way too tight. Now, guys, it's too tight. There's no play. Huh. This is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy about wrenching, is when this kind of stuff happens. And you've got no directions. As to why there's a bajillion bearings and screws and pieces in here. You're not reusing the stock screws and bolts, which is good. But I guess you just have to know, or bearings, so I guess you just have to know or make guesstimates of which ones to use. But when we tighten that down, that bearing, everything was just much tighter. That's smooth as all get out now. We're just going to trust that that thread lock still is working and holding. It hasn't hardened yet. Yeah, you know, with these LMTs, especially when you bolt these down, it cinches those gears tighter together. I should have just went for it and seen what happened. Earl, ring gear need to push away from the pinion gear. You can shim it side to side. Yeah. What I did is I just moved the bearings where they were sitting. They have a little lip on them. And so I just made sure. Yeah, see, now it's pretty good. Yeah. I can live with that. All right, so I actually ended up removing the shim. Just got to make sure your bearings that are sitting in there and seating your diff in there are set right and in the lip that they have for it, and you should be good to go. So we're going to install one drive shaft, and then we're going to find one of our, it doesn't matter which one, as long as you put the logo facing to the back, like so, it will set the toe the right direction. But just verify it. You want it coming down the 5-degree toe in, heading down towards the front, which is right here, which ours is doing. So we'll be able to screw this in now with the 2mm. All right, we'll be able to screw these in now with our 2mm wrench, and we'll do all 4 of them and go do the same thing on the other side. Oh yeah, see, that's smooth. Yeah, yeah, buddy. Deontay, what do you want to put on camera? Trying to see what Deontay said. Oh yeah, I did say it. I did do a redo that I took the shim out. I said that at the end. I'll probably just build the whole other axle and just do that as the build. And then I can add whatever end now. All right, so now we've got this axle together. We're gonna go ahead and install these ends. As you can see, I've got one of them on here. 4 screws around. We're gonna put our hex back on, and then we'll do this. I'm gonna do the hex right now. So I can just cut in from the other one. Once it's a single, I can make it a front or a rear. It don't matter. It's the beauty of editing. Pain in the butt though to go back through all this footage to do it. Not gonna lie, that's why I hate build videos. So much more work, and it's less fun than watching your truck jump through the air and try and find the coolest jumps. Oh, this is that time when I screwed that one bolt in. Yeah, that was a good one. I sure did like screwing that one bolt in. I remember it more than any other bolt I ever screwed in. There was this connection with that Treal axle. You just wouldn't understand. All right. All right, so we did that inner assembly in here. We did take out the shim because it was binding too much. One, we actually tightened everything down. So just make sure that your bearings are seated right on the diff, on the 2 little cradles that are there for it. If it's kind of off on one of them, it'll actually suck it in where it's actually grinded on the pinion a little bit more than it should. So make sure that that little ridge and everything is sitting in that little cup that is there to hold them. Mine is super smooth feeling, feels real good. We put one end on, we'll show you that process. It's real easy. You do it to both sides and then you add your hex at the end. Basically, you're going to take one of your drive shafts here. It's going to slide in. You got to find where it actually sits into that into the diff. And you can see it when you get it because it'll start spinning that diff. So that's now set. You're going to grab your end, and the Treal logo should face out to the back where all the other Treal logos are. And you're going to line up. Oh, we lost it. Once you get it, make sure you keep this facing upward so it doesn't slide out. And you're just going to go ahead and line this guy up here. And as you do that, you'll line up this. It's a square shape, so it only will fit 4 different ways, but you want it the way that has the Treal logo to the back, which will actually, when you look at it here, it makes the axles curve in. It puts a little toe on it, and so you'll know it's going in if it's going towards where your outdrive is for your drive shaft coming out of your diff. So we're going to screw this in with the 4 2 millimeter hexes that are applied, with the 2 millimeter hexes that are supplied, and we'll be done with this axle. Blah, 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 blah. Talky too much. All right. So throw a little thread lock on your screws, or hex, whatever you want to call it. Bolt. Threaded thingy with the end on it that you put into the driver with the doohickey and make it spin, that thing. That's what we're dealing with tonight, boys. Alrighty. That took too long. Luckily, I only have one more to do. Bam. All right, so both ends are on. All we have left to do is add our hex. It can only fit on one way. You should not be able to mess this up. So see if you can. It'll be fun. But the larger side opening here is going to go over. And then you just got to line up the holes here. You might have to pull out on the axle a little bit to make sure the holes line up. Gonna put some thread lock onto the grub screw and go fishing. There it is. See you, Tortured. Thanks for joining in. These things look amazing. Just gonna say it. That is not lining up at all with the threading. What did we do wrong? I said you couldn't screw it up, and here I done did it. How is that not? How is that not matching that hole? It's way off. Probably has something to do with the axle, not me. There it goes. Just need more drill power. All right, rear axle is done. We're gonna go ahead and weigh it, see how much it weighs. I probably have like 3 ounces of grease on the exterior of the case, so we'll try and get some of that off of here. Set this down. Try and get it level. Hand tools, John Miller. Next you're going to be telling me I should be driving a Flintstone car. Alright. So this one is 14.67 for the rear. So that is about 3 ounces more than the stock axle. But it just looks so much better. Man, is it beefy. This thing is gonna be spectacular. So we're gonna go ahead and reinstall it on the truck and get to the front axle. So guys, I should take a picture of this, post it somewhere. Chat has to disappear for a minute so I can get the iPad camera. Oh, that just looks like... There's a knife and like a syringe and little baggies. Just saying. Some channel, if I break it, I don't even know. All right. So I can probably bend it. Leave it up to me. So there are a few screws in here and thingamajiggers. There's a few of them that are cap heads and a few that are not. Oh, it would probably be, there's 3 screws in here that we won't need unless you're going to do rear steer and or put a steering mount on top, and that is these ones here. They would go into your steering plate, and that's what those are for. Those will go to the side. These are the ones we're going to need. The long one's going to go here. All of it seems kind of obvious, and we're just going to reassemble this thing. But first of all, I'm going to clean up my workspace. And throw all these spare axle pieces. An axle bin. Yes, I have an axle bin. It's a thing. See it magnetified. I'm just rolling it live because I'm going to be here anyway. Thought I'd just hang out. Yeah, people are going to call me when they need axle parts. I have got a bin. I have ordered up a whole bunch of stuff. All right, so first things first, we tick off the bottom links first. So let's put them on first. Why not? Let's go backwards. Little dirt here to clean up. Nice snug fit. They got that clearance right, that's for sure. That felt really good. Can actually work on it upside down. That's the easier way to hang it. Looks like there's a ridge here that they've built into this, which is awesome because it's going to hold that nut for you, so you shouldn't need a wrench on the other side of it. We're going to give that theory a little test here. That is not a thing. Would have been nice. Looked like it was going to catch that, but it doesn't. Should not need thread lock here. Some people will thread lock it. It is a nylon nut, but the screw does come beyond it, so you should be fine. What's going on, Mitts? These axles are amazing looking. Yeah, those fit in there something special. It's real nice. It's a great fit. Sometimes it's really tight and hard to get them in, the pivot balls, but these are like perfect. Somebody had a set of axles that they were using to line all this up. Somebody knew somebody. All right, so that's good. Now we just got to attack this in the right order. I'm going to go with the sway bars next, then the upper. All right, so now we got to make sure we attack this in the right order. I'll say it one more time. All right, so now we got to make sure we attack this in the right order to not block ourselves out. We'll start with the sway bars. here, because then we can still access the other things once we do that. And we won't have too much in our way. So that makes the most sense. Wow. Those are longer than they need to be. Cool. Not a bad thing. Keeps them from having too many different sizes, I guess. But you have a little excess, that's for sure. But I think that all of these are the same, and these are just thinner tabs than, say, the shocks or the lower links. So you just have more screw that's going to be exposed. Not a big deal. At least you don't have to accidentally do a wrong one where you're like, oh shoot, I used the long ones here, and you get down here and they're short. So it's not a bad thing to limit the amount of different size screws they use. All right, a little awkward. Camera's in the way. Me getting the proper angle on this. I would be on the other side of it. I guess I could turn it. That'll be easier. Working around all the cameras and the phones and everything. And one of the things you need to be sure you do too is you get the drive shaft on before you can't get the movement there. So next we'll do the drive shaft actually and make sure that that is coupled properly and attached. That way we don't have to undo any moves. All right. Cool. So my drive shaft's just sitting inside this tire. I keep saying that, and I think it's true, but I could be wrong. So far, I've only ever been able to easily get this drive shaft on if it is properly lined up, so you're not going to have the screws wrong. So, and have it out of phase. It looks like it's in phase again, but there's only the one way that it'll actually slide on. So I like that. Keep us from messing up. I know I've been guilty of putting one together out of phase and realize it and have to take it all down, redo it. Not fun. Hey, what's going on, Monster Parts? We're getting these Treal axles installed on here, and they look fantastic. The finish on them's real nice. There's not directions and a few things that are a little confusing with the axle. Hopefully this video will help clear it up when I put together the edited one. And you guys need to just watch it anyway. Put it on play and leave the room. So that it'll help it get those initial views that it usually gets. But if you're watching it now, you wouldn't maybe necessarily want to watch it. But if it doesn't get some of those initial views, it'll just tank. So, look at that. That looks good. Those axles look so good. Not gonna lie. And the drive shaft came apart. You just look at it. Just look at it. So this should be more fun than before. to line up. Since it's... Anybody seen all the announcements from the Monster Jam drivers? Like Neil Elliott after 20 years, COVID finally, they, you know, instead of just being like kind of laid off and waiting, it's kind of coming down to the end, it looks like, for some drivers. Not the end for Monster Jam yet. I think they're trying to scrape by during a time when events just aren't something people go to. And that states aren't allowing, first of all. It's kind of sad. I mean, Neil Elliott's an amazing driver. Alright, we're going to go upside down. This sucks. Some things are just easier if you screw it with the camera and just do it right. That's what I'm going to do, so I can see and make sure things are lined up proper where my screw is. Not going. Twist it a little. Not going. Not going. Too tight. That ain't right. It is, unfortunately, hard to see in here. Sponsor plates are great, but it makes things hard to see. I gotta get the screws lined up, and then you gotta there, that's it. All right, now before I do that again, not showing off the axles anymore. Gotta get these links on here. Keep that from happening again. Everybody's just trying to be safe. It's tough. You can't win in an argument about it. It's not even something I bother with right now. It is what it is, and we'll see how we come out on the other side of it. Hopefully this vaccine is going to help. That's all we can hope and pray for right now, is that this vaccine will let things open up again. But it is sad seeing all the drivers kind of posting their kind of goodbyes. I haven't even seen all of them. I saw Neil Elliott and I saw, blanking on her name, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, Candace Jolly, that's the other one I saw. Had posted it. All right. So we go all the way out with our shocks. Get the most angle we can for the suspension. So that's where we're going to go, right there in this outer of the three. These have proper bump stops and everything in them. I love these shocks. Next thing I need though are some limiting straps. Yep, I mean, there's not much Feld can do. I mean, they're in the entertainment business and they can't entertain. All of their stuff took a hit. And if they can't fill stadiums and they can only do limited seating, they're only going to put on so many events, just enough to keep it alive, probably keep merchandising going, some of that kind of stuff, because that's where they can make some of their money to keep afloat is through merchandising, which is probably why we're seeing things like Jurassic Attack come back and some of the more kid ones. That's why I was kind of shocked that Candace Jolly wasn't driving, female driver and all that. Shut up. Sway bars. Got them in funky footed. They're wrong. Tony 2-time. It all happened actually when I was messing around with that drive shaft, twisting the axles around. Easy enough to fix. Gonna pop this off. Gotta do both of them though, because they're tied together. Oh yeah, Becky McDonough. She'd moved, what was she on? Soldier of Fortune after being El Toro Loco. Alright, so you gotta make sure your sway bars are up like this when you do install them. Mine, with all my messing around with the axle drive shaft, mine got messed up when I was working with the drive shaft. So, getting it right. Yeah, there's a lot of them that are let go. It's unfortunate. But we'll see what happens. The Indy races have been going and they continue to go. And people forget that it's dads that bring their kids to a lot of these races, or moms, but a lot of dads, and they got to keep some of the dad favorite trucks in there too. I would hope, and not do all these only crazy kid stuff with the way that they hold the races and the event itself. Parents are the ones with the money, and I bought my kids the monster trucks the first time because I was the one that liked them. So you got to remember that. And you start out buying them the trucks that you like. And then they say, oh, this one's cool, it's a shark. Yeah, okay. But that's why I don't get like getting rid of the gunslinger and stuff like that. I mean, sharks are pretty deadly too. Should they get rid of its teeth? Because that's what makes it mean. The slinger isn't mean without the gun. The whole Wild West thing. But whatever. Just give everybody popsicles and lollipops and cotton candy. All right. That's nice. All right, so axle's on, shocks mounted, sway bars are on proper, links on the bottom. Everything on it just looks really good with this axle set. So we can put the tires back on, get working on the front end. I need to check my microphone, see if I have a battery left to do the front end tonight. Where is that wrench? I love the, I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like Megalodon. I got the Megalodon Fire. The Taz looks cool. I mean, we have Crustacean. There's a lot of cool ones. Brutus is cool. But, I don't know. I liked Gunslinger. I thought Metal Militia was cool when it was very military kind of look. With the guns and everything. Oh, Harley broke his front axle on the Rift too. Wow. My kind of question mark for the Rift is the way that the servo is built right in. I haven't seen that before. Kind of interesting. Yeah, Monster Parts is the one that made my Megalodon chassis. 3D printed it. Looks super, super sick. It's on the shelf right back there, actually. There. All right. Nothing's telling me the time. 1 o'clock. Holy crap. All right, that was a 2-hour axle swap right there. Dremel needed. All kinds of stuff. I think I'm gonna call it quits. That was one axle for the live stream. The other one is gonna be the front, but I really only need to show how the kingpins and all that get put into it for my video. So I'll probably do a lot of that off camera. Show the mounting plate for the servo, that kind of stuff. Yeah, this is going to be a beast of an edit to do. But we'll get it done. These axles do look really awesome. And man, is it going to make this truck really, really durable. I can't believe how durable the 4-link system is in it. It's pretty awesome. I'm reading the chat now, trying to play catch up to some of it. Very cool races this weekend. Yeah, the front of this baby needs to see a dentist. It looks like it's got teeth hanging all out of it. I could cut it off. What I'm probably going to try and do is just go in and tape it and shoe glue it and see if I can't get it to hold together a little bit. I don't know. I could just cut it off. I have another one, so it's taken a beating, you guys. It actually, I cleaned it down, so it actually looks pretty good right now. Hit everything with the CCxRC parts cleaner. Went through and then pressure washed it, or air compressored it, hit it with the hose, air compressored it again, hit it with WD-40, let it sit, wiped it in, and then hit it with the air compressor. Well, I hit it with the air compressor first to kind of spread the WD-40 around, and then went in, wiped it all down. So the tires were looking a little better. I mean, you wouldn't have believed how bad everything was before this live. You'll see, because I have a video to edit where I was bashing it, which is what broke those axle braces. Some really hard hits, front end hard into the ground, weird axle one wheel landing. So the braces did protect the axles, but the 3D print did break, as was witnessed in the video earlier. Whoops. This one is still in good condition here. But this tab that goes under the axle actually broke off on 3 of the braces. Both of the front ones from the hard hits, and then one of the rear ones, probably the one that I landed really weird on. But I think he's going to change some of this bracing here, maybe thinking it up a little bit more too. Because, yeah, just see a little bit more durability there. But I also don't think people are going to be, well, maybe they are, but just doing 150 backflips one after the other, or however many I did this past time. With the test I did for the Freestyle RC ones, I literally did over 150 backflips to test it out. Landing all different kinds of ways. Just, I mean, it's still just impact. That is an aggressive toe. I'm looking at that 5 degrees, and it is aggressive. I wonder why they did that instead of the 3 that they were stock. That's really aggressive. I don't know if I can get the... camera at the right angle to show it. But interesting. Ugh. But I cleaned down all the panels here, the links, the tires for the most part, because they were just caked in with mud and dirt. So even though they look dirty, they look so clean compared to what they were. So clean. Yeah, it's like a slash toe, John Miller, you're right. Thanks, KLC 8000. Bose Garage, I did not break an axle with the carbon fiber plates. And I did not break the plates either. In fact, I have the plates saved to go on one of my race trucks because they're nice and lightweight. But also, if you are racing, these would probably do the trick if you want to keep that scale look, because you're not going to be doing all the flips and stuff unless you have crazy freestyle at your competitions and you go crazy during freestyle. You shouldn't need anything more than those. But this is my bash truck. I haven't done anything to it. I finally messed with the ESC, but I haven't done anything more with the shocks there as they came. I just changed out the axle. I've been testing these braces, but I mean, I haven't changed the location of shocks. I haven't done any messing around like that, and it's just been a beast for me. It's amazing truck. I've broken axles, yeah, but I break axles. I break things, so I don't get mad about breaking things. So I don't recommend people do half the stuff that I do if they don't like to, if they're not okay with things breaking, because the way that I run it, stuff is going to break. See you, John Miller. But yes, the carbon fiber braces have held up. They're in my bin of parts right here, and ready to go onto. I was planning to put them on my roller that I got. So I'm gonna set the roller up, I think, as a race truck. So I'll probably even do the shocks on the links. So that's kind of my plan, is to do link mounted shocks. So I'll have to swap these out for trailing arms. I'm going to be doing J Concepts Renegades on them as well, on their tribute wheels. I'm going to leave, well, I don't know if I'll be able to keep this shock package when I go to trailing arm. I think I might be able to. We'll see if there's enough. I might actually stay shotgun axle. It's pretty plush. I don't mind it. I'm just trying to find a way to get it to not twist on me under acceleration when I'm lined up a jump, but I can finally feel like I can punch it. With this one, when I do that punch, I just feel like I lose control of the truck. And maybe it's just more power than I'm used to doing with these, and so it's just any truck would do it could break loose. Whereas we don't normally have that much power in our trucks, that extra power. So that could be it. Maybe I'll try it 2S and see if I still feel like it's very skatey, is what I kind of call it, like on ice. But yeah, these Treal axles are definitely boss. How's the son of a digger compared to the digger? I think they're about the same. So I stuck with this one because I was completely stock still with this one. With the grave digger, I changed out the servo to a reef raw, but when I get a new truck like this, I try to go in stages for how I upgrade it. Some people just upgrade right away. I try to show people what they can do with it out of the box for a while before I start doing too much else, because so many people aren't going to do anything to them. They're going to get it and they're just going to use it, and that's all I've really done is get it and use it. Stock tires, whatever, not messing around with a whole lot of that people are asking me to do, and I'm like, I want to just see what it does like this. Eventually we'll do that, but you know, this is the truck that's being sold, and I want to see how it breaks in, and without just tossing everything to the wayside right away. Yeah, maybe that's why there's 5-degree toe. Maybe it will help stabilize it a little bit. Hey, how's it going, Chris Gregg? Welcome to the live chat. So yeah, basically we'll do, I bought those 12mm hexes that you do have to get. I bought a whole bunch of stuff. I do want to try 4 steer on it because this is going to be like a scale freestyle truck. Eventually I will probably do a sticker bomb theme. Maybe I'll do it blue and black and white, kind of like I did with the grave digger, kind of where I just stickered over it. But I'll probably change up the body like I did for sticker bomb 2, go with a different body, do some kind of flame or something on the front that's blue because it's going to be a blue chassis, and I don't feel like messing with that. And doing my sticker bombing on the back of it. So that's an idea I have for it, is making sticker bomb 3.0. See you, Lauren. Yeah, the servo is slow in this, but I did leave it on so people would see what it's like, and that's the other thing I think that's not helping with the steering. Servo saver, slow servo. You can see the wheels just walk all over the place when you're in the air or when you get nose up. Or you're just kind of a little bit out of control, which is one of the coolest things about this truck. It gets out of control in a very scale looking way. The way that it kind of twists and the wheels kind of move around. So, see you, J.O. Again, another big, huge thank to Riff Raff for his super chat earlier. You guys are so cool, man. I don't get it. I mean, I do. I do the super chats in other places, so I do too. I get it as well. It's cool to be able to do. Cool feature that they've added. But definitely a huge thank you to him for throwing out some money toward axle replacements. And you saw what we've got. I ordered a bunch, and so I did put in. And I will tell you guys, here's a tip. If you are planning to buy a ton of parts, just buy a roller. It ends up being cheaper. Because if you were to buy all the parts to have a spare set of axles, 2 sets, you'd be looking at about $300. So people are buying the rollers and they're selling the wheels for anywhere from 75 to $100 for 4 wheels and tires. You could sell, you know, the cage. You could sell the body. Well, it doesn't have a body, but you could sell the cage. So people like me that would be swapping this out could buy the black cage and you know, do a different theme if we want. See ya, Monster Parts. Jimmy. Chris Watson just messaged me about stickers. I think I have some still. I could drop some in the mail. But yes, these axle costs here. So that's the other thing, is if you're trying to buy 2 sets of axles, it's $300. For 2 sets of these, not the internals, mind you, is $350. So it's only a little bit much more. People are complaining about that. Now again, that's the whole housing. You can buy just the casings for this for like $40. It's really the diffs and all the metal parts that get expensive. But if you were thinking you needed to have full housings extra like I did, and I bought 2 sets, it's expensive, and you'd be better off just buying these Treal ones. Once I got it lined up, it's very smooth feeling. Chris Gregg, will you be going live stream with more vehicles? I don't normally, you know, these are just kind of bonus lives right here. I have my Tuesday night live that I do every Tuesday night, where we just either talk about some new RC that's coming out or whatever it is. It's not a whole lot of wrenching. This one we actually spent time wrenching. I just went on because I was going to sit here and work regardless. So I thought I'd show people how it all goes together. Some people like the longer form and actually seeing what kind of problems you run into. It does help for sure. Which is why I sit on like Friday nights when Harley's doing a build series, and I'll sit and watch him build stuff. And you know, if he comes up on an issue like I did with the strip screws, you learn little tricks and techniques that people use, like buying these wrenches that have holes in them so you can make a T-wrench by just sliding another one through like this, and it gives you a whole lot of torque if you got a tire that's stuck to really twist with. So that's why when I needed some new wrenches, I got these because I'd seen them being used, and I thought, that's really cool. Another tool that I saw being used, had to have it. Harley was working on shocks and things, and I didn't get the exact brand that he had. I got what our local hobby shop had, but shock pliers, and man, have I used these so much. I didn't think I would have many uses for them, but from popping pillow balls out, putting them in, just grabbing onto things that you don't want to mar up with these circular ones up here to hold on to them. I use it for my Primal RC, my bar rebuild 5th scale truck, the smaller trucks. These are useful for just about everything. They've gotten beat up in the year that I've had them now. They're awesome. But just stuff like that you just kind of pick up from people. Chris Gregg, can you get notifications? Yeah, if you hit the little bell on the subscribe and hit the bell, it'll send you an email. Or if you have your phone set up with the app, it'll also send you an alert on your screen saying that it went live. Some of them I don't do. This is just using my phone. And I've done this a couple times in the garage when I'm working on the Raminator, just because not everybody gets to see that being worked on. And so I can't bring it up here to film a video on it. I just do it live from the garage. But I've been doing a few of these, or I'll jump in other people's live chats. You should watch CCxRC live. There's lives every night of the week. From 11 Charlie on Monday, I do RC Conspiracies or whatever it is I want to do on Tuesday. Wednesday, you've got a couple Scale Builders Guild and Harley Designs go on together. That's like a takeover. really fun and funny. Thursday night is RC Talk with Tank RC, which is right now on the Tank RC Live channel because of dumbness that happened where he lost his live privileges because he was showing people that should get credit for being good channels, and he showed a little bit of their videos to show what they do, and he got copyright strike against him for that. But there's that one. Friday nights usually Steve OD. I went live this night because nobody else was going live. RC Guy Garage is live all the time, about every night of the week and every morning. He's live all the time. He's been RCing like crazy these days. So yeah, there's lots of stuff. All right, Chris, you heading? We'll see you, man. Mike Tebow asks, are limiting straps available yet? Not scale ones that I've seen yet. I hope somebody comes out with some because I'd like to get some and not have to build them. Do the stock carriers fit the Treal housings? No, the carriers are built into the Treal housings, and they are super beefy. If you mean the lower link carriers, you can see them on the bottom. They don't come off. It's not like a multi 5-6 piece axle like the LMT ones. They are, the only part that comes off is this front piece right here for your diff to go in. All of this is molded, or not even molded, it's cut out billet style out of it, and they're just very, very well done. I don't really see how you could break these, honestly. It's gonna take some, I mean, I'll try, but I don't see these breaking. So they make it so the parts that come off are the universal parts, the ends here, if you want to do rear or front axle, they work for either. But your link, upper links, lower links, sway bars, and shock mounting points are all part of this piece, and it's a beautiful piece. Not gonna lie, it's in my opinion fully worth the $168 that they're charging for these. You know, you pay crazy amounts for other things, smaller things, shocks and whatever that are $100 for 4. This thing is beautiful. Comes with the bearings you need for it. They have bigger bearings that they use. So you get 4 of them for your outer parts of the axles, then you get 2 for this inner part here, and then all new screw and hardware for it. It's real nice. Green Frog, yes, both the rod ends, shocks. I don't know what's the weak point because I've never broken a rod end on these. And if anything, it may be the screws that hold the rod ends in. Your upper links are going to probably be your give point because your upper links are not captured. So your lower links, and this is the one thing I wish that, like on my Freestyle RC ZRD, I wish that they were captured internally like this in the plate, the transmission plate. So these screws are got protection on both sides that keep it from moving. The uppers have a screw through it with a nut on the inside, and they can start to get loose. So if anything, it seems like you drive the power to that screw and bend it, or break it, or I don't know. But the way that I get to those is there's a couple ways that you can do it. So if you remove, is it the front one? Yeah. So basically you can remove these two outer screws here that are blue on each side. And then if you remove this screw right here that's holding this plate, this sponsor plate, you can peel the sponsor plate up enough. Right here there's a screw you can get at, and then that'll drop out the little plate here. It's basically two things holding this bracket. And once that's out, you can much easier get to the upper link here, which is kind of buried. But that's how I get at it, is I come from the bottom to get into it. I know CCxRC was showing going from the top, but you got to remove the battery tray parts of this piece anyway. So it just makes more sense to me to take out this screw and this screw that are side by side. But you do have to get underneath here to get to this screw. There's a little black bar that runs across here, and it does literally block you from getting to that upper link. It's kind of an unfortunate position for that brace, because it does make it, you know, we talk about the functionality of the upper links and how you can move them up and down and all that like they do with the real ones. Well, that functionality wasn't made very easy to access because of that plate. So, but it really is 4 screws, one here, or sorry, one here, this blue one, this lifts up, and you get to that one. So I guess 6 screws. And then you can literally tighten it down or whatever. Take off the nut, thread lock it. I probably made that confusing because I can't really show it very well in this lighting. What's $800 for an axle housing? Trying to come back through. You know, Monster Parts, I've heard that before. I sound like John C. Reilly. It all depends what voice I'm using when I'm talking. But I do get John C. Reilly a lot. Especially when I get more tired, I think, and lazy with my voice. Yeah, the third member. Shake and bake. Yeah, so I get some of the kids being like, "Whoa, you sound like Wreck-It Ralph." Other people just say John C. Reilly. Step Brothers. I wonder where he's from. I got a little bit of that Michigan twang hanging in there. Incision axle housings, those are super nice. I'm gonna wreck it. I should say that before I jump up my RC cars. Wreck-It Ralph RC. Oh man, I had this burner sitting here this whole time, and I haven't had any of it. Oh, they don't come with sponsor stickers for the roller? That's a bummer. Not to brand compete, but Traxxas makes some pretty good ones that you can get for like $4, $3 for a sheet of them. Or something like that. I bought a bunch of them in our hobby town because they were super cheap. I need to get some Wreck-It Ralph quotes. Oh, so some of you guys asked, I'll show you this. You guys get the insider's peek at something because you're hanging out super late. Well, couple things. This is the new roof we're having put on. That looks pretty sweet, huh? Mauricio, yes, the rear has the new axle housing. I'll turn it so you guys can see that axle housing. But yeah, so that's the new roof we're having put in. That's partly why it's taken me so long to get to this job. I'm also trying to make a shed for my, here's the old roof. It's kind of like a brown. So it changes the look completely. Going with the metal roof. That's not what I wanted to show you. New shirts for a new club we're creating. Right there. So this is just the sketch mock-up of it. Yes, JMRC's is a metal roof. Yeah, this is the Zugu case or something. It's an awesome case. What do you guys think of that? Enough people breaking axles, I figured we needed some shirts. So I'm working with the designer, and I sent him a picture of a broken down tractor I could find. So I wanted it to look like some of my clodbusters, but I didn't have any pictures offhand to show. That's the housing for people that came late. Looks great. And so I wanted that. So I sent him a picture of my Bigfoot next to Grandma and said, I want the blue truck, but I don't want any logos, whatever on it. And I want the front end to look like, and I found a picture of a tractor that had kind of broken like that, where the axle was snapped and the wheels were just kind of falling in. And so he took that, but it was good because I sent him one that was a clodbuster, because I think that's more really a broken axle club. Those clodbuster casings, if you look at it, you can kind of see a little bit of that design that looks like a clodbuster one. So I didn't want to feel like, oh, you know, picking on low C in their axle braking or whatever. Because honestly, I've broken more clodbusters. I broke 5 clodbuster axles in the last 2 months. Well, technically 6, because I found that the other one was broken too. So 6 axles. And I've only broken 2 LMT axles in that time. And I've done a whole lot crazier stuff with it. The guy that makes the donuts. Oh, Big Rig, Waterford, Michigan. Very cool, man. We used to race bikes at Waterford Park, where they had the wave pool and all that. We raced BMX there for years. You know, being from Fenton, it wasn't that far. Yeah, 80's looking broken axle Bigfoot. You got it, Green Frog. Chris Watson, it will be black and white. It'll be a black shirt with white design on it. That's what I do for all of them. In fact, if you went to my Teespring, I uploaded a shirt that I didn't tell anybody that I uploaded. That I can show you guys. I think, if I can remember my shop name. Nope. Let me just pull it up here, and all right, so this is one that I had designed. I found it just easier to have people design stuff Where's the products? I'm trying to find it here. That's the problem. They don't have it set up. You should be able to like click on the person's that has the product and see all their stuff. That's kind of weird. Give me 1 second. I'll find it. Big truck. So it's funny because you couldn't say monster truck on there because the word monster gets copyright. There we go. It'll be on this page. I found it. This one here says nothing says America like monster trucks. It's got the little CCxRC in the back panel of the truck. Anyway, that's another shirt of design that's available. Been trying to get some more out there. Yeah, Kidney Buster MT days. You're right, man. Yeah, it's very aggressive now. So we'll see how it handles. Grew up in Heartland. Very cool. Where in Heartland? Big Rig 313? Like off of 59? My dad was a teacher in Highland for 35 years at Highland Middle School. Kevin Mendez. Oh, you broke it, man. Yeah. I got a whole bunch of, I bought a whole bunch of axle casings for the plastic ones. I'm only going to do this one set in the metal for now to see how it does. I figured I'd be a guinea pig for people. It's going to be easier to get them now that JER is going to stock them, as well as Crawford Performance Engineering. So, yeah, it'll be easier to get them quick. Won't have to wait on the shipping. Are the steering blocks still composite? They will be, yeah. It doesn't come with that, so you'll still have the plastic composite part that's the block side of it. Yep. Which is probably good, because if you run into something, like a curb or a tree, if you hit it hard enough, at least that will break, versus who knows what else could happen. If it's all 70-75, that would transfer who knows where. Chris Watson, let me just say about the stock axles. When it was warm out, I bashed it hard for 2 months and never broke one. I got little chips and things like that out of the plastic where they meet, and there was a little flex. But I was doing all those backflips down at Digger's Dungeon with Ryan Anderson, trying to do the moonwalks, and all of that stuff was on the stock axles. There weren't spare parts. That's all I had, and no issues. As it got colder, that's when I had the problem. Actually, after Matthew Hall and Josh Sanford beat them hard, that's when I started to see it. So those were some pretty brutal hits that day. But I don't usually take it off of big air stuff. I take it off of jumps that are just maybe as tall as a truck or a little taller. And then the backflip little ramps that I've made, I usually am not airing it out off the super send it ramps. If it's going over my head, that's too high for a truck like this. It just is. People are going to do it. They're going to break them. it's not meant for that. That's not super scale. Kevin, I'm going to try and break these axles. I have a feeling I could maybe bend the screws in here that are holding these casings on. I have to, tomorrow I'm going to have to, well, I have to build a shed tomorrow. Then after that, hopefully tomorrow night I'll be able to come up and do the front axle. It took me 2 hours to swap it out. I ran into some strip screws. We had to figure out, there's no instructions. We had to figure out whether or not they needed to be shimmed. And it ended up being the bearings not being seated all the way. It's really tough to get the bearings in. So a lot of learning experience on this first one. The other one's going to have its own learning curve with the mounts for the servo, and there's going to be other things on the front one that are going to make it take a little while. So I'm just going to, I didn't want to do it tonight. So Green Frog, yeah, Ipswich can break it. Hit a tree there in the air. My jumps will send you as higher than Ipswich because you can get a good running start at them, but there's not the trees to hit. We've cut all the trees down. Never understood the go out and break stuff mentality. I don't like to just, I don't intend to break stuff. I just want to go big. So the goal is to land it, but you don't always land it. You lose visual, it slips on the way. So, and with this, I'm not going that big. I'm just doing a lot of scale size flips, and that's what was breaking this. But yeah, right in here, right where they meet, I think those screws could be the weak point. That would be the only thing, because other than that, these are solid. I mean, maybe you'll bend shocks or break shocks. Probably you can bend shock shafts, some stuff like that, because so much of the rest of the truck is just beefcake. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up. 1:30. I'm gonna put my microphones on charge so that I can do the video tomorrow and finish up this. I do have the bash video with the plastic JER braces in it, and I need to edit that. It's going to be pretty raw run video like the one I did with the Freestyle RC one was, so you can kind of see everything that I'm throwing at the braces. And yeah, and that's kind of what it was for, was just go at it over and over. I was also testing some things like trying the forward reverse, no brake. I actually feel like it gets into reverse faster if you hit the brake and you have it in that mode. Because if you have forward reverse, you'll hold reverse, but it doesn't just switch into reverse. It waits until the wheels stop, but it doesn't go stop as fast as braking, and then it goes into reverse. So you can just hold it, which is nice. You flip, hit reverse and hold it, and then eventually it'll catch and go. But I think it's easier to control with the brake in that motion. So I don't know, but I also may turn the reverse down, because I feel like when you're trying to get into that moonwalk, you just full reverse and it just goes too far forward. I think it was a little bit lower than 50%. You might have a little bit better control of it when it does actually lift it up. So anyway, lots of playing, but that was one of the things I was messing with while I was also testing these braces, which I broke 3 of right here on this point right here that comes over the top to mount underneath where the lower link carriers are. That part just broke off. Not a big deal. The rest of it still offered quite a bit of bracing. And so he's going to work on reinforcing that a little bit and come back out with another one. So it's all learning. It's all new. We'll get it all figured out, guys. Anyway, hope you have fun RCing. and we'll catch you next time. See y'all.